welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about some strategic metals. So firstly, let's talk about the upgrade of F-35. The F-35 Block 4 upgrade just got delayed, and that is the fifth time in 2 years. It isn't about a technology problem, it isn't the budget problem, and it is all related to a metal. Most Americans don't care about that, but China controls 90% of these metals. And each F-35 contains 900 pounds of it. That is rare earth. So what does it actually it used in the magnet in the engine? It's used for the heat resilient component for the F-35. So we can say that if you would like to build an F-35, you have to make sure that you have enough rare earths. But right now, China have tightened the export control regarding to this material. I think that's a choke point for the American. So when you think of a material, you will think, okay, can our government spend more money to mining more? Or the answer is no, because you have to have a complete infrastructure. That's just a 1 day case or 1 year case. China have spent 30 years in that, and China have built a 30-year refining infrastructure regarding to their rare earth mining, and U.S. they have deposit. Actually, they have the mining mountains of stuff like that, but they don't have the capacity for processing this rare earth. And based on the IEA, China will control 75% of the refining capacity of the rare earth. That's just the layer one. Let's talk about other metal. That is tungsten. What is that? That is the highest melting point of any element. And China controls 80% of the global production of the tungsten. And because of that, you can check this picture. The price of tungsten just keep rising. So you will have a question, what is that? Why is that important? Because it's used in the armor piercing, it's used in the missile noise cones. So that is super important in the defense industry. So do Americans notice that? Yes, they do. And their Department of Defense claims that in 2027, that is the legal deadline to eliminate the Chinese tungsten. You have to control that. But from my perspective, I think that's an impossible mission because it's very challenging. There are multiple steps for you to reshape that, because firstly you have to identify all the tungsten in your supply chain, and then you have to find the affordable or the other substitute supplier, and then you have to spend money to building more, and lastly you have to scaling the production. All of this stuff maybe you have to spend a couple years to finish. And then here's another important metal, that's antimony. What is that? It's used in the armor piercing again, and also it's used in the night vision device. The ridiculous thing is that the US depend on China for their bullets. And right now, in 2026, there's no production in the US regarding for these metals, and China have banned their export for these metals. And the DOD realized the problem. They realized that, oh, that's a serious problem for the United States. So they invest 24.8 million to restart the mining in Idaho. But the mine won't be operational until like 2028 or 2029. So how can they solve that? That is also a very important issue for American. So actually, China have planned this like 30 or 40 years ago. And in 1992, the leader of China, Deng Xiaoping, have claimed that there's oil in the Middle East and there is rare earth in China. At that time, the leader of China has considered the rare earth or the strategic metal as a strategic asset for China. And right now, they don't just mining, they control the entire value chain because they spent 30 years in this industry. When regarding to the environment problem and for the Western country, they cannot tolerate it because you have to spend a lot of money in this environmental cost and you have to uh, spend a lot of money. You have to handle a lot of problem because of the environment. But China have spent a lot of years on that, and right now they have leveraging their position. They control these important metals, and they also accelerate the export control. They think this resource is a geopolitical tool. Let's see this picture from 2023, 2024, 2025, they, they accelerate the export control, including the rare earth, the tungsten, the antimony, the titanium, and all of these important metals. So I think this is just a random. It's a coordinated pressure for the American, for the Western countries. So compared to oil, you have substitute, right? You can use like natural gas, you can use nuclear, you can use solar. But how about these metals? I think there's no substitute at this time and right now. You have to spend years to handling this thing. Um, and also, um, we and also there's also some important material that I would like to mention. And I will give you three more examples for you. The first one is Indian, and China also control this metal. So what is that? Actually, the everyday thing you are using right now, and every phone, every laptop, every TVs, all of them contain Indian. And and one more important thing is the AI chips. You have to use Indian for the thermal interface. So I think that is super important right now because more and more people, more and more companies would like to spend money to building the AI chips. But but if you do not have this material, how can you build your chips, right? And another serious problem of this metal is that it is just only a byproduct of zinc. So we can say that there's no a mile for you, right? And the second example I would like to say is the zirconium, and it used in the fuel road cladding. So as we know, we heard a lot of news about the AI data center, but as I said before, the most important thing is we have to need electricity, right? If there's no electricity, how do you build an AI data center? So the only solution is that you have to spend money in the nuclear power. So by from the IEA space case, the nuclear capacity must double by 2050, and the demand of zirconium have up 12% year over year. Think of that. For every reactor life extension, for every fuel road replacement, you have to use you have to use this metal. You have to use zirconium. But there's only a handful of qualified supplier worldwide. And the third one I would like to mention is titanium. As we said before, titanium is also a very important metal. Think of that. Think of the F-35. Think of the airplane of Boeing company, and also, And there's also the robotics. You have also used the titanium because it's very strong, it's light, it's corrosion resilient. And US has 100% import depend on the titanium, right? If if China or other country ban this material, what about the US? How do you handle this problem? So what's the action of US? Regarding the first question is the power, the electricity thing. The Trump administration claims that they would like to invest 80 billion in the nuclear investment commitment. And another, the one metal I would like to mention here is uranium, and this is also is the core metal of the nuclear thing, and the price target is 100 to 120 per pound. And the titanium thing is, yeah, the DLA will have built a strategic material reserve, um, and the government would like to spend 870 million to restoring a project to restart the U.S. titanium's production. Okay, so here's the summary of my video today. The uranium, titanium, and antimony, tungsten, indium, zirconium, and the rare earth. I think they are the strategic assets in the world right now. Um, and all of this material face a critical inflation point, like around 2027 or 2028. And my point right now is that um, it is not a commodity right now. The world has changed, the paradigm has changed. Right now, all of these things are related to the security of a country. And for us as an investor, we have to watch out. We have to do some research regarding these metals, regarding related to the companies, and we have to find some ways to invest in this kind of company and metal. And that's it. That's today's video. If you like it, please subscribe and like. That's all. Thank you.